Hi, it's a quick demo of the Minnow USB-C DAM tool. So I got it configured with the dip switches in the default configuration, which is not powering the FTDI USB serial, passing through the USB to the actual unit under test, and the RX and TX lines on that FTDI not enabled, so it's the full SWD. Then I have an NRF53 dev board connected via USB-C to micro B just to demonstrate the USB pass-through. Normally this would obviously be a USB-C device, and it would have some onboard USB DAM switching like the test board here, which I'll show you in a minute. So this target is configured to have, well, it's got Zephyr OS, and it's configured with two USB-C DC devices. One has the logging output, the other one has the serial console. So yeah, with the Minnow connected and USB pass-through in default, I can connect and see the logging. So if I reset the target, it'll come back, and you can see all the logging. If I then connect to the other one, I also can have the terminal or the serial console, do all that sort of stuff. That's just demonstrating the USB pass-through. The next demo is a bit convoluted because I'm using this DAM test board. This would normally be the unit under test with all this stuff on board the device, and you wouldn't have a breakout cable going to a I have another breakout here, which is then breaking out to a standard ARM 10-pin SWD interface, and then that's going into the debug in on the Nordic NR53 dev board. I'm also powering the dev board from the VBus line, and then the VCC is the vTarget on the SWD line. And then from the Minnow, which would be the SWD out of the target, have it go into a J-Link. Down board there is some logic, the example logic you'd have on the target device, which detects the CC line both being pulled up to enable DAM mode. The weak pull-up resistors, so there's a comparator on there which detects that and then enables the DAM mode, so it switches the SWD lines if they're both high. And if we go to the terminal, we can issue the J-Link server or the GDB server on J-Link to the NRF53 dev board over SWD, and you see it connects perfectly. Gives me the target voltage of 3 volts. That's what I have the NRF onboard BDD configured for. So because the Minnow is configured with both the RX plus and minus in the default dip switches off, not using them as UART pins, they have the full SWD lines available, so including the reset and the trace line, which means you can use Sega real-time transfer. So I'm using the Zephyr example shell module building for RTT. I can just demonstrate flashing that with the connections I showed you. Some weird terminal going on there, but yeah, it's flashed it. And I can then start the GDB server again, and I can connect with the real-time transfer client, and I get the prompt. So that's pretty cool. And as a final demo, I'm demoing the FTDI on board the Minnow, providing USB UART interface. So if the device had a physical UART peripheral instead of a USB-C DC, and you wanted to communicate with that through USB-C auxiliary pins, so you can use the RX plus and minuses rather than the full SWD, so the trace and the reset, to pass through the UART lines to the FTDI chip. And that's what this dip switch is doing. So both of these are now on, so they're passing the RX plus and minus auxiliary pins to the USB UART and not to the SWD header, assuming that they're going to have UART on them. So you can still use the SWD for programming and flashing, just don't get real time transfer. Yeah, I think that's what it's called. I always forget. And then the test board is still detecting DAM mode with the CC lines. As the first demo, I just got the loop back for the USB So with the Minnow configured with the USB UART device powered, the USB is now connected to that, not to the target device. So I can use my USB listing tool to show that. Got the Minnow USB-C DAM 230X, which is the FTDI 230X chip. I could also filter by that UUID, or sorry, the PID. Then we can connect to that terminal. Yeah, is that one? That's that DTY. And yeah, because we've got a loop back, it's obviously going to echo or loop back on, but it'll also blink the LEDs on the Minnow.